I'm Laurie Dawkins, ABC, MC, SCMP, and now Fellow. I work with the Provincial Health Services Authority, where I'm the Vice President of Communications and Engagement, and I have the pleasure of working in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada, on what we know as the traditional, ancestral, and unceded lands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. I've been asked a lot lately about what I think about this whole fellow thing and what's the impact of that, both personally and professionally. And honestly, it hasn't really sunk in. It really started to come together, I think, when I saw people offering just the nicest well wishes. My organization took it upon itself to share the news on our social media channels and internally on our intranet. And I had a moment of pause when I saw my huge face up on the screen. But what struck me most, I think, was the breadth and the reach of those nice well wishes from people from my IBC community, of course, people I work with now and previously, my CEO, my board chair. It just really starts to make you realize that the enormous impact that people who do what we do can have. So I've really been most moved by that, and it's made me quite reflective about my career and where I've been and maybe where I'll go next. In our organization, we talk a lot about being good medicine, and it comes from a Coast Salish teaching. And so I think, if anything, being named a fellow has made me realize the value of being good medicine and how I want to do more of that going forward, whatever that may look like. The other thing, I guess, in that reflective mode is considering, how the profession has changed since I started. When I think back when I got my degree, communications was kind of lightweight. Jokes were made, even inside the profession, that can you believe that we get paid for being the voice of common sense? But holy moly, does the world ever need common sense now? And I think we've really come into our own. And I think about every significant transition that my organization has experienced in recent years, whether that's the COVID-19 pandemic or changes in leadership. Communications is the first call and the most important call. I think leaders, more so now than when I started off in communications, they care about how they show up. They understand that the words that they say matter. So the words, they have to match the actions and they have to match the heart. And I think that, we're the most impactful people when it comes to aligning those things. So it is a tremendous privilege to be doing this work and to having it really come into its own. And I think, finally, I think there was a question about, what advice could we offer to new people starting out in communications? And when I think back again on sort of where I've been, it's don't be in such a rush to move up. Take steps sideways. Take your time. I had the great privilege mid-career to spend about 10 years moving sideways, taking secondments, taking on the weird projects, saying yes to everything. And as a result, I built this tremendous network, and I whether it's across IABC or the healthcare industry or just communications in general, those people are there for me now. They're the ones celebrating with me now, but they're also the ones saying, this is where the opportunity is. This is where you can do good work. And so I think, not to sound cliched, but I think the more time you spend at the base of the mountain or mid-level, the more people will be cheering for you when you get to the top. So do it all, embrace it all, and it'll pay dividends. So that's it for me. Thank you so much. I am really, really proud of being named a fellow. Thank you.